Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make techno like Reinier Zonneveld. If I said that wrong, I apologize, I'm American. But yeah, as usual, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets, all of that stuff in this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And one more thing, I just dropped a new remix. If you like this style of techno, you will love this remix. I'm going to leave the link at the top of the description. Go check that out, leave a like, and yeah, let's get started. So, this is the loop that you heard in the intro. We're at 131 BPM, and the first sound that we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. So this is the kick. Here's the original sample. You can hear it's just this like really, really punchy, just like kind of kick. You know, it just hits super, super hard already. And I've just got it in here being processed a bit. So the first thing we have is a bit of drum bass. This really helps with the punch and just kind of like taking it to that like next level of really slamming. Because if we turn this off, like it hits, but it doesn't really sit in the mix quite the same way that it does when we turn this on. So yeah, you can see I've got the drive and crunch up. We've got it on the hard mode, so it's like really hitting. And then I also have the transients up to give it that like, you know, really like have the right attack. Then after that, we just have an EQ8, which you can see is doing really subtle things. Like it's just cutting a little bit of mud here, very subtly, only like -1 dB. And then boosting a little bit here. These 2 points are really like for the punch. A lot of that like in the kick I was talking about happens in these like ranges, like in the higher mid range. So if you boost those a little bit, you can make your kick punch a little bit more. And yeah, that is it for the kick. I had to fix the gain station there. The next thing that we have here is the bass, which sounds like this. So here is the MIDI for this bass line. You can see it's actually really simple. It's just sticking around G. It's like this simple kind of G minor thing. We have G, and then G up here, G sharp up here, and then just F down here. And there's also a G sharp right here. But yeah, really simple stuff, just kind of like dark, you know, very much like a 303. Like, I wouldn't say this is exactly a 303 bass because it has more of like a modern sound to it, I think. But it's very close to that, and that's what this pattern is modeled after, just like those kind of fast and aggressive 303 patterns. For the sound on this one, it is made using 2 layers. What we have here is we have this one, and then this one. So you can hear we have kind of like this full body bass. And then this one, which you can hear is just kind of adding some squelchiness on top. So what we've got here is analog. You can see I've just got 2 saw waves going into a low pass. The low pass has an envelope on it. The amp envelope is set like this as well. And then yeah, that is really it for that first bass layer. It's really simple. You know, I was just trying to make something very strong and fat and simple. For the second layer, it's actually really similar. You can see we just have, again, 2 saw waves. These are going into a bandpass filter, and the bandpass has an envelope. And yeah, again, this is to get more of that like squelchy, almost like 303-esque sound. Then we got the amp envelope set like that. And then yeah, that is it for the actual bass sounds. On the overall bass, both of those layered together, I have a bit of saturation as well as some drum busts. So these are both just gluing these together and then fattening them up. Here's without these. And then with them. So you can hear what these are doing. The saturator just gives it that extra little bit of kind of like push. And then the drum bus is even more on top of that to really make it hit hard and really make it full sounding. And glue these together as well. Saturation is really good for gluing sounds together. After that, I have this auto pan, which you can see is set up like this. It's kind of like simulating that this was sidechained to the kick, just because it's a little bit easier to control this way versus like actually sidechaining it to the kick. But yeah, what we got here, as you can see, I got the phase on 0, and then we have it on quarter notes. And then all you have to do is just set it to a saw wave, and then invert that. And you get that same kind of pump that you get from sidechaining it. And then the last thing we have on here is an EQ8 just doing a very, very subtle cut at 100 hertz, or like 95 hertz, just to cut out a little bit of room for the kick, because that's usually where the kick is punching through. So if you cut that, you can kind of like make this fit into its own place more. After that, I have the kick and bass in a group together. You know, this just really helps to make them kind of one. The way I look at it is like, if you didn't have a bass and you just had like a rumble kick, for example, you would do something like this. You know, you would process the rumble and the kick together to kind of glue them together. I'm trying to make this hit as hard and be as full sounding as a rumble is, but with a synth bass. So gluing these together using some processing really works for that. So I'll show you. Here's with nothing. And then with the processing, you can hear it really makes them, again, just be glued together and hit properly. So the first thing here is the drum bus. You can see we've got the drive up, got the crunch up. We've got it on the hard setting as well. The way the hard setting works is it's a distortion with a little bit of a limiter. So this can really help, actually, when you have like a kick and bass going into it. You don't want to go too hard, and the limiter on there isn't really like the strongest. It wouldn't be, it's like not really like just taking a limiter and just like cranking it up like that, you know. It's like very subtle, but it just kind of helps to push them together a little more. And the transients is turned up. That's just helping with the punch. You can hear it just gives it that extra, like, to really punch through the mix. Then after that, we have an EQ8. This is boosting here for a little bit of punch in the kick and to kind of bring out the bass. And then also I have this low end boost here. There's about this. And with it, so you can hear it just kind of helps to focus the sound a little bit. And yeah, that is it for the kick and bass. The next sound that we have here is the lead, which sounds like this. So I was trying to recreate the kind of lead you hear in tracks like Hard Gone and like stuff like that, where it's this very like stabby, ravey kind of sound. You can see this is really, really simple. It's literally just playing one note, and it just kind of like hits like like that, you know. So very simple in terms of notes. You don't want to go too crazy with this because we already have this bass. It's like we're trying to make sure that these two can fit together. And like, say we write like a whole melody with this, like let's just do like you can hear that's not gonna fit so well. Even if it is technically in key with the bass, it just sounds kind of weird, I feel like. You need to like make this really simple and keep it kind of more specialized to just doing one thing. You know, it's just that one stab there. It doesn't need to be anything else. So yeah, and then for the sound on this one, it's made using analog. What we've got here is we have a square wave and a saw wave. And then they're being detuned a bit. You can see I detuned the square wave. Combining a square wave and the saw wave is a good way to make a little bit of a more interesting kind of sound too. Because if we just use saw waves, it kind of just sounds like a saw. But if you put a square wave and a saw wave together, it makes a more interesting kind of texture to the sound. And the amp envelope just set like that, just default, I'm pretty sure, but that's all you need since this is like a stabby sound. And then we have a bit of vibrato as well as a bit of unison. So these really help with the sound. If I turn these off, you can hear. It doesn't really have that same kind of like chorusy, ravey stab sound without these. So the vibrato is turned up, the rate's all the way up, and then the amount is just up a bit. It's not like the full thing, but it's just adding a little bit of kind of like warble and sort of buzziness to the sound. And then the unison is adding that like super saw kind of effect. And this is also, I'm pretty sure that in some of his tracks he's used this, because I noticed if you take this unison and kind of turn it up like that, you can hear that same kind of like thing that happens in a lot of his tracks where it'll be kind of like rising like that, but it's still sort of in the same key. I believe that's how it's being done, actually. There's a chance that it's in Ableton using analog. But yeah, then we just got a bit of chorus on the sound, kind of spreading it out a bit. And then we have a bit of reverb as well to make it just really like ring out there. Yeah, since this is a more stabby sound, you have a lot of room to do that. And then we have the drum bus. You can see this is going pretty hard with this one. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear this is really essential. Like, this is how you're going to get that, like, just strong, powerful stab sound just using a synth like this and not, like, samples. It's just by taking it and just, like, saturating it and really fattening it up. And also, like, I've got it on the hard setting, so it's being limited a little bit, which brings out the reverb. And then I've also got the transients up. And yeah, that's the drum bus. And then the last thing we have on here is just a high pass filter. Just to cut out some low end and make room for the kick and bass. And that is it for the lead. The next thing that we have here is the percussion, which starts with this rim shot, which sounds like this. So I'll play this with the kick so you can hear where it's hitting. You can hear it's just playing like a little thing like that, you know. It's not really like meant to take up a whole lot of space. It's just adding something a little bit more to kind of pick up the energy. Because if I turn this off and then turn it on, you can hear what I'm talking about. Like just having that like in the background really adds a lot of movement to the track, I think, and kind of energy. So yeah, this is just a simple rim shot sample. After that, we have the ride, which sounds like this. So this is just like a nice kind of like, you know, fat ride sound. I'm just kind of pitched up a little bit. And yeah, really simple stuff. You know, it's just playing like that. After that, we have the open hi-hat, which sounds like this. And yeah, this kind of sounds more like a closed hi-hat, but I guess technically it started as an open hi-hat. You can see this is really simple. It's just kind of in the mid-range, just like, because we have the ride already doing like the bright high end. So then we have this, and it kind of fills out the mid-range a bit. And yeah, it's kind of like the lead. It's like, it doesn't really need to be a whole lot else. You don't need to have a whole lot of high-end layers on this. You don't need to have a whole bunch of extra stuff, just because like it's already got that in the mix. So yeah, and then on the group of the percussion, we have a bit of drum bus as well as an EQ8. So here's without anything. I want you to turn that up a little bit. And yeah, you can hear with everything. So the drum bus just glues these all together and makes them all kind of come together as one sort of percussion section. We just got that on the medium setting, again, without it. And then with it, really brings these out and makes them, you know, full enough to fit into the mix. And then the EQ8, which is just cutting out the low end to make a little bit of room, because like you can hear if we turn this off, some of these sounds have a lot of low end to them, so you just cut that out. And there we go, it fits into the mix perfectly. And yeah, so that is it for the percussion. And that is also going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets, all of the stuff from this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And also, like I said in the beginning, check out my new remix. It's in the description right at the top. Can't miss it. It's super dope. Acid remix. I hope you guys will enjoy. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.